And welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Who. We're 25 minutes into a conversation between ourselves and realized it wasn't recording.
Uh, how
Kyle,
did neither of us notice? Uh,
you can tell it's a Friday afternoon.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's give you the highlights.
The highlights. Team of the week. We got a lot of players in team of the week.
Yep. Steven Dos Santos, player of the week. Lagos Gunga, first goal
First
in
start.
first start in USL League One, first goal in 5 years professionally. And yeah, first time on
Luis.
team of the week.
Oh yeah.
Luis,
Then Luis, Dion, Marco, all making team of the week, all playing really well.
yeah, well deserved by all the guys. Great effort there. That win at Tormenta, I think, definitely helped. Given the gift by former Union Omaha captain Dalton Newton,
Yep.
making a professional foul and misjudging where he was.
Didn't realize he was the last person back. Yeah.
Did not realize he was last man back and denying a obvious goal scoring opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the red card particularly changed the game. I think we would have put up at least 3. We put out a very, very fast side, which worked very well on against Tormenta, who it felt like it caught them off guard to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, it was Lagos' first start, like we said, and pairing him with Noe, which we haven't seen yet, was really good and really dangerous.
Yeah. I liked it. But again, just very fast against a team that itself is very fast. Like Tormenta has some very fast pieces. They picked up, we have what now, 3 former Union Omaha players with Toby, John Murphy Jr., and Dalton. So
yeah,
all of whom, like, Dalton's not particularly fast, but he's great at distribution. So you don't need him to be fast, but Toby and John, both very fast players.
Toby also just really good at with his vision and seeing the field.
Oh yeah. Well, and then you have Sterling down there, who's quick, very good with the ball, and early red card, but
we had already scored. We'd already scored by that point, so
yeah. So we were already up, and it was a game that Tormenta needed a win on, and I think it slipped. Our mentality came in stronger, and we came out with a beautiful scoreline.
Yeah, one of the things that we had been mentioning before was that during the team talk, Dom and Peter had mentioned it as well, talked about a lot of the mentality. That was what a lot of, it seems like Dom's style kind of focuses on building, is that mentality. And so it's interesting to begin to see that come through. And like we have at points, right? But even more so.
No, I mean, with Jay, he was, your prototypical American coach. Stamina, endurance. I could imagine him doing beep tests after a loss, sort of coach. But very, very much focused on the physical attributes of the team, making them the best physically they could be. Whereas in the team talk, which if you didn't get a chance to attend, is available in its entirety on our Instagram through a phone feed. We try to live stream every single one of those over the course of the season, but we have all of them up on our Instagram. Almost all of them up on our Instagram. I think we missed 1 or 2 of the first ones. and available in the Reels section for you to view. But Dom, while I don't think he's lacking on the physical approach to the team, is so much more mentality based, so much more building that chemistry, getting the guys to see his vision and making them tough. They're not giving up after 60 minutes anymore. They're not giving up after 70 minutes. We really saw that click, I think, back in July.
Yeah, like end of June, because we had before the win streak even happened, the 4 of the 6 games before it were wins. So
Yeah,
that's like that start. I think it was a game against Tormenta in late June that started.
yeah, and jokingly, I've said it was after their Fontanelle Forest tree excursion, but it was right around that time, though. The team was promoting a lot of the team building activities they were doing with their partners, which is fantastic. Gave us a delicious pizza from Virtuoso in the form of the Mason Mueller. But Dom went into some great detail about the small exercises he was having the guys do, just to be able to, quick react to everybody. Really just get what's going on, almost anticipating everybody else on that squad and how they were going to think and how they were going to react, which is going to be massive going into Madison.
So Madison, it's a tough place to play. We kind of talked about that a lot before.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot before.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot before. Our current record, playing 11 games against Madison, we've won 2, we've drawn 6, and we've lost 3. So if we did get a win, it would even up that score. But it's one thing where it's still a very even game, but we've only beat them twice, and they're the team we've played almost the most amount of times, I think.
Either them or Greenville.
Yeah, no, it's the team we've played the most amount of times, because this is going to be our 12th game against them. We've played 3 other teams 10 times. Chat, Greenville, and Tormenta.
Tucson would have been close there this year.
Oh, that's true. Tucson would have been, because we played Tucson 7 times, and then if you add another 3, they'd be at 10 at least. So,
RIP Tucson. RIP.
They might be coming back with all the Western teams getting added.
They might. I know that when they went down, their new ownership group's intention was to bring them back to League One. So
which with the California teams happening right now that we're hearing about, maybe that does happen, but I wouldn't expect it until at least 25, if not 26.
Well, speaking of former Tucson players, Jake Krull is up there in Madison. And as we mentioned, Madison is a tough place to play. It's a tough team for Union Omaha to play against, no matter our form.
It's going to be sold out or close to it, they said. Oh yeah, against their greatest rival,
against their number one rival, Union Omaha. I
didn't actually get to see Yogi's response to that, because I'm like not on Twitter at all anymore. But I think I saw someone post it, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice that their front office finally acknowledged that Union Omaha's a rival, their biggest rival.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a marketing stunt, but
because this game's important for them. It's important for us as well, and we'll talk about that. But it's also important for them, because if they do anything other than win, Tormenta can catch them. Because even if they draw and Tormenta wins, Tormenta's through on the tiebreaker.
It is arguably more important for them than us. Mm-hmm. We're guaranteed a home playoff match no matter what. We could lose this, still get a home playoff match. That's good for the business side. That's good for our players. It's good for the fans. You get another chance to see Union Omaha at home. A win secures us the Players Shield as well as a first round bye.
And home field advantage.
Home field advantage for every game we play.
Every game.
So if we made the final, we would be guaranteed a home playoff match.
A draw would also guarantee us a bye. However, a draw still means North Carolina could catch us. So because they have the tiebreak over us. So draw, we would leave ourselves up to North Carolina. A loss, Northern Colorado even comes into the picture. Because if they would win and we would draw, they would pass us by tiebreak. Or sorry, if they would win and we would lose, they would pass us by tiebreak. So win, we're first, no, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Draw, we're second, maybe first if North Carolina does bad, but they don't have that tough of a game. And then loss, we're who knows. So let's just win.
Yeah, a win just it gives us that week off. Just a good overall mood going into everything. I think that is the ideal position everyone wants to be in. And I mean, the guys want that.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be playing another game if you don't have to.
Especially with how we started the season, right? And what it was looking like at the start of the season. Like, oh man, will we even make the playoffs this year? And to becoming like, we have a chance to win it, to at least win the regular season for sure, and then go on to the playoffs. Like, we have that chance. So I feel like that's something where they're really going to be motivated to kind of fully show kind of the doubters wrong from the beginning of the year.
Well, I mean, I'm well apologetic for having hit the panic button, but it was nice to hear at the team talk that Dom also was hitting the panic button during that awful run towards the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But this is such a mentally tough game for both teams before putting yourself in that environment. As Warner Park can draw 4,500 people, and it doesn't feel as full as a Breeze field with 4,500 people. Like that is much more on top of you. Because of the proximity, it's a little bit louder. It's more urban, so the sound's bouncing off the apartment buildings on either side rather than going into the cornfields, housing complexes out at Warner Park. It is a tough environment, and it really is going to boil down to who, in my opinion, it is going to boil down to who has the better mental fortitude to get through this game and be able to brush off it doesn't matter what's happening. We're just coming here to win.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's easier for Union Omaha to attain. They control their fate, but their fate's already pretty good, even if everything goes to shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
whereas Madison, they've been on such a poor run lately, like overall, because I think they've won one game since in the last 2 months. So they've been in that playoff, like a pretty comfortable playoff position, and they've just slowly watched it drop.
A total of 7 points since August.
Yeah, 7 points in the last month, because their win before that was August 9th, I think. But then they had one win in September over Richmond, but that's been the only win in the past 2 months.
Not great.
Yeah. So, I mean, they might see like the opposite, right? They might see where they were fine, they were in a decent position, and then kind of like us last year, where it just slowly goes down into like, oh crap, are we gonna fully miss the playoffs now?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely an interesting spot. Um, as we were talking about in the unrecorded episode, um, the way that they have been playing goes from not letting pretty much any goals in to games where they just the dam opens and
Mm-hmm.
they get scored on multiple times. It seems like Union Omaha is on a goal scoring hot streak. Steven with his hat trick, an additional goal. Um, Luis has been in great form. Lagos gets his first goal for Union Omaha. Like it, there's so much opportunity within Union Omaha to just continue bettering ourselves, up the goal differential. And Steven and Noe are not technically out of the Golden Boot race, so they're on 12 goals so far this season, and what's it? Trevor Amon is at 22.
20, 22, 23, something like that.
Yep. So 10, 11 goals by either one of them or both of them individually. So 22 goals total, 26 goals total. Hey, crazy
Scoring
things
like
have
every
happened.
4 minutes or something.
We can do it. Believe in us. Uh, do we think we see any changes from the lineup against Tormenta?
Ooh. I could see not having Lago start again, but I feel like after having such a good game, I think that's a hard decision to make. Because like normally someone like Joe Brito would start there, or something like that. I mean, with Connor out, you're having to play Pedro back as the other six there, which is not ideal, but kind of what it
He's
seems
been
like has
stepping
been the
up very
solution.
well. Like
Yeah.
Pedro has done very well in a pinch at that 6 role.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
just it's not ideally where you'd want to play him, but like
yeah,
he has stepped in very, very well. So it seems like we're kind of playing Luis as the 10, and then having Noe and Lagos or Joe when he comes in, or either Joe on the wings, and then Steven up top. Really, really settling into that 4-2-3-1. But yeah, I don't, unless Luca's maybe healthy, maybe you see that, but
yeah,
I don't know. My current thought on Luca is maybe you just wait for the playoffs with him, but like get him sub appearances like he has been, because he played, I think, was it 10 minutes on Wednesday and then 20 minutes on Saturday, something like that.
yeah. And he came in more in the midfield in that 6 role, didn't he, on Saturday?
No. He came in on the back, and then we shifted. I think Shaft shifted over to the right because Dion came out,
Okay, yeah,
and then
yeah,
Marco flexed out to left back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think we see Lucas start. I
Mm-hmm.
it the flying wings has been very good for us.
Oh yeah.
Um, I could see Joe Brito instead of Noe for this, just to have as Brito has great service.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it over what can be a very tough back line. Um, Steven has been very good about muscling into those situations, drawing the fouls where he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Lagos has shown that he is very good at getting into those, finding the opportunities.
Yeah, it seems like Lagos is a bit more of a dribbler, though, I would say. Because that was how he scored, right? He just dribbled past everyone and scored, and how he
Yeah,
created the goal for Noe, I think, too. Um, so it'd be interesting having those competing factors, and I wouldn't be surprised if you maybe even see him swap wings at points throughout too. I could see that
yeah.
if you were doing that.
No, I the midfield's the only place I could see potential changes, but
Mhm.
I'm not strongly swayed one way or the other. Um, I'd still like to see Steinwasser get a start, but I don't think this is the game for it.
Yeah, I
Like
don't think so.
Steven's
No.
on a hot streak. Uh, just let the boy go.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done so well recently. So, and I mean
Things most
I guess sorry.
go.
I was just gonna say on defense, really the thing to consider is probably Cheney, right? He scored against us, I think twice, right? Because he scored in the first game. I think he scored one of the ones in the second game.
Yeah,
And he's had 10 goals this season, so two of those have been against us out of the 10. Um, and he's their biggest scoring threat, but they're somewhat a little like us, just not to the extent where they have a bunch of people who have contributed, like little goals here and there. It's just that we've kind of had more goals in total, so we've had more on that. But
yeah.
it could come from anyone. Like Cheney's going to be the main threat, but like it could kind of come from anywhere.
So I think that'll be where the way we have had our defense is, the solid center backs and
Hmm.
Dion and Shaft able to get to wherever. Plus, with our sixes, JP has been so solid for the most part there. Um, and Pedro is putting in the work. It's not his preferred position,
Hmm.
but he has stepped up in such a huge way there and really, really shown at that sixth position.
Especially trying to replace someone like Connor, right?
Yeah,
Like that's a tough task, and he
yep,
stepped up really well into it.
yeah. Like I have a hard time justifying any changes, but I think our bench is also so deep that um, you know, we have the options if something's not working for Dom to just make that switch and bring
Hmm.
on somebody who can be an instant impact every single time.
Yeah.
What's your biggest worry about this game?
I mean, other than that, we draw like we have most of the times we play Madison, or even lose like we have done more.
Yep.
um, as far as like in the game itself, I mean, I would worry giving up an early goal or like essentially giving up the first goal, because I feel like if we score the first goal and we kind of can press the gas then and keep going, because then you stretch them out a bit more, right? And that's not quite how they want to play. They want to play more compact. They have gotten 0-0 games a lot, or like 1-0 games. So I wouldn't be surprised that if they score the first goal somehow off a set piece, off a good counter, off something, and then just bunker, that
Yep.
might be hard for us to break down.
Yeah. Um, that's more or less where I'm at is our ability to defend a set piece and prevent an early goal. I
Mhm.
I think we've got to score in the first 15 minutes to hope for a win. Um, they're they're going to try and break us down. That pitch is not fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, the the energy being thrown by their crowd is going to wear us down a little bit. We have some veterans who are very good at absorbing that level of energy, but then we have some newer guys who aren't really used to that. Um, so
Yeah, especially with with like that engaged of a crowd, like no offense to other teams in League One, right? But we have one of the better home crowds, and they haven't really faced a really like super strong away crowd, I would say. Like this is probably going to be, other than maybe Richmond, the biggest away crowd they faced.
yeah,
So it is a different experience. And like we could go, I'm thinking back to the Fuego game recently where we were down, but we had looked good, and then we, with the kind of the crowd's enthusiasm helped kind of spur them on, and we're able to get those two goals to win. But they won't have that. I mean, they'll have some people. I know you're going up, but
Yep.
they won't have the whole stadium on their side to do that. So it's going to be a bit more taxing.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one. All right. Score prediction.
I almost don't want to give one. I'll say 2-1. I'll stick with my standard.
All right. And thanks for tuning in. One question for you, Kyle. I got one question for you, Kyle.
All right.
Who gives a hoot?
We do.